Hello, good evening. Welcome to Rupavahini News.
Hello there. Very good evening indeed. I'm Shram Masquinas. President Mahinda Rajapaksa is to address the UN General Assembly sessions tomorrow. Our special correspondent says that the Sri Lankan president has arrived in New York in the early hours of today. He is scheduled to address the UN General Assembly session at 11:30 p.m. tomorrow, Sri Lankan time. This report has been filed by Mohan Kannaratne of Rupavahini, who is now in New York to cover the president's official visit. President Mahinda Rajapaksa, First Lady Madam Shiranti Rajapaksa and the Sri Lankan delegation who left the island to attend the 68th sessions of the UN General Assembly arrived in New York at around 1:30 a.m. today Sri Lankan time. The President, the First Lady and the delegation were received by the Sri Lankan ambassador in Washington, Jalia Wickramasurya, the Sri Lankan permanent resident representative of UN in New York, Dr. Palitha Kohana, Deputy Permanent Representative Major General Shavindra Silva and embassy staff. The Sri Lankan delegation is comprised of Ministers Professor Gio Pires, Nimal Siripala de Silva, Dallas Ala Peruma, Supervisory MP on Foreign Affairs Sajin Divas Gunawardana, Parliamentarian Lohan Ratwata and Presidential Secretary Lalit Werathunga. Sri Lankan permanent resident representative of UN in New York, Dr. Palitha Kohana, said that everyone have accepted the fact that Sri Lanka is moving forward rapidly in economic field. The president will highlight the improvement of Sri Lanka in the economic sphere during his address at the UN General Assembly sessions. He will also bring to the notice of the UN member countries about the measures taken to balance changes internally. The president will hold several rounds of bilateral talks with a few heads of states and he will meet leading businessmen. He expressed the belief that they will bring the investment for development in Sri Lanka. The Sri Lankan president will connect with several institutes that has the ability to make social influence. President Rajapaksa will also meet several high-level societies of Jews. The Society of Jews has the ability to make a high influence in this country, he said.
And මේ ආයෝජන ඕන් ලංකාවට ගෙන එනවා ඇති කිය. ඒ සමගම සමාජීය වශයෙන් බලපෑම් කරන්නට පුළුවන් ආයතන කීපයක් සමගත් ජනාධිපතිතුමා සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා. ඉහළ මට්ටමේ යුදෙව් සංගම් කීපයක්ම එතුමා හමු වෙන්නට එනවා. මේ රටේ අප දන්න කරුණක් තමයි යුදෙව් සමාජය ඊටාම ඉහළ බලපෑමක් කරන සමාජයක්.
The UN organization was formed in the year 1945 with the aim of entering into a collective agreement and a dialogue among countries to prevent the reoccurrence of Second World War situation. The first conference of UN was held at Westminster Hall in London on the 10th of January 1946 with the participation of 51 countries. Since then, measures have been taken to hold the UN General Assembly sessions on Tuesday of the third week of September every year. Sri Lanka has become the 65th member country of the United Nations in the year 1955. The main problems of all countries in the world will be discussed annually and in lengthy discussion is scheduled at this year's UN General Assembly sessions on the progress of the Millennium Development Goals agreed upon member countries during the year 2000. The heads of states will focus their attention on the elimination of terrorism and climatic changes.
And moving on to the provincial council elections, Dayasiri Jayasekara, who contested from the United People's Freedom Alliance for the Northwestern Provincial polls, has become the highest preferential vote receiver in the provincial council election history of Sri Lanka. He received 336,327 preferential votes. Dayasiri Jayasekara has secured 201,884 preferential votes, more than Johan Fernando, the second highest preferential vote recipient in the Kurunegala district. In the previous provincial council election in 1993, Chandrika Kumaratunga, who contested the Western Provincial Council election, received 298,457 votes. Former Chief Minister Atula Vijayasinghe has secured the fifth place in the preferential votes list, receiving 47,014 votes. J.C. Alawatuala was the highest preferential vote recipient of the United National Party in the Kurunegala district. He received 33,960 votes. Former Chief Minister of the Northwestern Province, Shamal Prasanna Sinarath, was placed second in the preferential vote list. Former Provincial Councillor Minister Sanath Nishanta, who contested under the banner of the Alliance in the Puttalam district, came first, receiving 62,996 preferential votes. Former Minister of the Provincial Council Ashoka Vadigarammawa was placed ninth in the list. Nilantha Vimlavira, a relative of former Provincial Councillor Ananda Saratkumara, has been defeated in the poll, receiving 11,728 votes. He was placed 15th in the list. Don Hector Hygienist was amongst the highest preferential vote recipient from the UNP in the Puttalam district. Anuradha Jayasinghe came first in the Alliance preferential vote list in the Kandy district, receiving 107,644 votes. Former Chief Minister Sarath Ekanayake was second with 70,171 votes. Meanwhile, Asad Saleh is leading the UNP preferential votes in the Kandy district with 55,395. He was the former deputy mayor of Colombo. Pramita Bandara Tennakon has received the highest number of preferential votes contesting under the banner of the UPFA in the Matale district, receiving 51,591 votes. Ranjit Alvihara has secured the second highest number of 29,545 votes from the UNP in the Matale district. He was former UNP MP. R. Muttaya was the highest preferential vote recipient of the Alliance in the Noreli district, receiving 50,600 votes. Former Provincial Councillor Minister Nimal Piatissa and former Provincial Councillors Salih Bandara Ekanayake and Jayaratna Disanayake have been defeated. KK Piyadasa came first in the UNP preferential votes list from the Noreli district, receiving 21,972 votes. Meanwhile, C.V. Vigneshwaran, who contested the Jaffna district from the Tamil National Alliance, has received the highest number of 132,256 votes from the Northern Province. Leader of the Tamil United Liberation Front and former parliamentarian Anand Sangari, who contested the Kilinochchi district from the Tamil TNA, has been defeated. Former MP M.K. Shivajalingam has been elected to the Northern Provincial Council this time. Kandasamy Kamalendran, who contested the Jaffna district from the UPFA, with the highest preferential vote recipient of the Alliance, receiving 13,632 votes.
Well, several candidates who received the highest number of preferential votes in the recently concluded provincial council polls expressed their views to the media. UPFA candidate Dasiri Jayasekar noted that the election result has given a fine message to the local and foreign powers. The election result clearly indicates that the majority of the people are with the president's victory, constantly supporting him. The UNP has suffered a severe setback in the Kurunegala district at present. It was a serious situation. All 37 candidates of the UNP have secured 165,000 votes, but he said that he has been able to get 336,000 preferential votes alone. UNP received only 9% of the votes, suffering a severe setback in its history in the Panuvasnuwara electoral division. Every election defeat, the UNP had used to say that they have suffered a small setback. But this time, it was not small. It was a severe erosion of their vote base. This was a defeat of a small group of conspirators who used to sling mud on us and try to destroy the UNP, including Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, he said. UPFA candidate Anuradha Jayaratna noted that people in the area have given a massive support, keeping faith on all alliance candidates and the government. He pledged to continue a correct political journey, protecting the people's confidence and fulfilling their aspirations. UPFA candidate Sarath Ekanayake asserted that this triumph was the result of the development activities in the country initiated by the President. Everyone should thank the President for his efforts towards this end. He congratulated the victory of the son of the Prime Minister as a youth candidate. He added that he accepts his victory very happily. He extends his well wishes to him for his future activities. TNA Chief Ministerial candidate C.V. Vigneshwaran pointed out that it is essential to work in collaboration with the government. He cannot go in different angles. If we want to bring benefits for the people, both parties should work for the betterment of the area through discussions, he said.
Minister Vasudeva Nanakkara says that the responsibility of the Tamil National Alliance should be not to put the Northern Provincial Council into a crisis situation, falling prey to the conspiracies of the Tamil diaspora. He points out that the Provincial Council should be used to solve problems faced by Tamils and build national amity. Minister Vasudeva Nanakkara made these observations when he addressed a media conference in Colombo yesterday.
We must remember, there were the extremist elements of the diaspora who are haunting within the TNS campaign with their own agenda to bring the crisis of the Provincial Council and ultimately push the Tamil masses into a new struggle by getting the government to intervene in order to dispose the newly elected Provincial Council. That is the design of the diaspora. I hope it is not the agenda of the new leadership elected to the Provincial Council of the North. And there is no doubt there will be a clash between these purposes. Diaspora's intention to drive the new Provincial Council into a crisis and have it dissolved by the hands of the government. On the other hand, the newly elected leadership and the expectation of the Tamil masses that the new national leadership will deliver them some services which are of urgent necessity and that they would voice the needs of the Tamil people through the Provincial Council, and they would want to have the Provincial Council preserved. Then the government gets a credit for having had a very democratic election, and if there were any kind of charges, suspicions that this government is moving toward an authoritarian state, it has all been negated by the very honest election that we have held, in which we have made it possible for the actual expression of the people's will in every place and in every part of the country.
Sri Lanka achieves a prominent place in the medium category of the Commonwealth Youth Development Index. The island nation was in the forefront in education, health and several sectors compared to other countries in the South Asian region. The Commonwealth has launched a development index under the patronage of the Commonwealth Secretary General Kamlesh Sharma that ranked the development and empowerment of young people in 170 countries worldwide. The first Youth Development Index offers an inter-country comparison of the environment for young people aged from 15 to 19 across 5 key areas: education, health, employment, civic participation and political participation. The index, which ranges from 1 to 0 being the lowest youth development and 1 the highest, has ranked Sri Lanka in the medium category at 7th place in the community participation out of 170 countries. Sri Lanka amongst the first 30 countries in the health, education and employment areas. Bangladesh, Pakistan and India in the South Asian region were placed far behind Sri Lanka. India ranked 98 out of 170 countries, Pakistan 89, Bangladesh 84 and Nepal 42. International analysts say that country's highest position in the Youth Development Index was a significant factor to attract the special attention of world leaders towards Sri Lanka, the host country of the Commonwealth Heads of States meeting.
The Divi Naguma Granary and Market Complex has been opened in Diulapitia. This is one of the major rice wholesale markets in the island. Well, the granary and the market complex are located in a 5-acre site. It has facilities to store 60,000 metric tons of grain. 76 businessmen are provided with storage facilities. 115 businessmen will get the same facility under the second stage of the project. The daily scale of rice in the Maradagahamula market is over 500,000 kilos. It will help to distribute rice and grain varieties countrywide at a reasonable price. Addressing the opening ceremony, Economic Development Minister Basil Rajapaksa said today that Sri Lanka has become a major granary once again. He added that President Rajapaksa has restored the right of the people to live in any place in Sri Lanka without fear and suspicion, creating a unitary state, making the national flag flying in the island. He added that the government has been able to make Sri Lanka a granary during the reign of President. Deputy Minister Lasantha Alagiyawanna, Western Province Chief Minister Prasanna Ranatunga and senior officials were present.
The JVP vote base has been further eroded following the conclusion of the recent provincial council polls. They have been able to win only one seat in 3 provincial councils of the North, Northwestern and Central. People have rejected the JVP in the provincial poll. The party, which maintained the status of the third force in elections earlier, has pushed into the 4th place. In certain electoral divisions, the party has suffered severe setbacks. The JVP has received 13,887 votes in the Central Provincial poll. The party got the lowest percentage of 0.1%. They were placed 7th in the province. The JVP has received 228 votes in the Northern Provincial Council election and its percentage was 0.06. It has received 19,624 votes in the Northwestern Provincial polls, winning 1 seat, but as a party it was pushed to the 5th position in the area. Election results confirm that JVP has been rejected by the people in all electoral divisions compared to the year 2009 Provincial Council election results. Prime Minister Vimal Veeravancha said that he heard the JVP saying that their vote base has not been affected. That is so because they cannot feel such setbacks. JVP has fallen from the mat to the floor. They cannot feel it as there was not much of a difference between the mat and the floor. Statements of such parties should not be taken for granted as they cannot feel the cold on the floor.
UPFA candidate Rifkhan Badiuddin, who won the Northern Provincial Council, and some of his supporters came under a thug attack. Police media spokesman SP Buddhika Siruvadana said that a gang of the Tamil National Alliance has carried out this attack yesterday. A gang of thugs had attacked Mr. Badiuddin and his supporters when they visited his native village, Tharapuram in Mannar, later after the election victory. 3 of his supporters who received injuries in the attack have been admitted to the Mannar hospital. The thugs have damaged 2 vehicles and 2 3-wheelers that belonged to the supporters of the winning candidate Rifkhan Badiuddin. Mannar police are conducting further investigations. Meanwhile, a group of Tamil National Alliance people have exploded firecrackers and dynamite opposite the houses of Alliance supporters in Mannar and Adampan areas. Residents appeal to the authorities to bring the suspects before the law.
Well, a ceremony to commemorate the 44th death anniversary of the father of free education, CWW Kannangara, was held today. The present government takes measures to fulfill the aspirations of the late Mr. Kannangara, who contributed his share towards a powerful social paradigm shift in the Sri Lankan history. Christopher William Vijayakon Kannangara was born on the 13th of October 1884 in Randoba, Ambalangoda. He entered into politics during the year 1920s. He was instrumental in introducing the Free Education Act against the then education system. It was the beginning of a great social reform in the country. The Act provides free education opportunities for all children in the island. It was proposed to provide free textbooks as well as food items free of charge. The present government is engaged in a great task towards the progress of the education field following the path of the late CWW Kannangara. The number of schools in the country is 9,905. A program to set up 1,000 Mindodaya laboratories has been launched. Measures have been taken to introduce technology syllabus to the countrywide schools. Education Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that aspirations of the late Mr. Kannangara have been fulfilled through Mind the Chintanaya.
The Operation Biyakawa 2013 military exercise was concluded at the Silavattu Vakare in Batiklo yesterday. Sri Lankan 3 armed forces along with army observers and officers of 6 foreign countries participated in the operation. 2,700 members of the 3 armed forces attached to the Eastern Security Forces headquarters consisted of Batiklo, Toppigala, Narakamulla, Tirukonamadu, Vakare and Khadirveli participated in the military exercise yesterday. Sri Lanka Army, Navy and Air Force troops along with foreign army troops attended the operation. Well, the aim of the military exercise is to exchange military knowledge of the members of the Sri Lanka Army and to improve skills of troops and their constant preparedness for war. The military exercise was carried out under the supervision of the Chief of Staff of the Sri Lanka Army, Major General A.W.J. Krishantha De Silva.
Wicket-keeper batsman Kaushal Silva strengthened his case for a test recall on day 1 of the second unofficial test against New Zealand A, hitting an unbeaten 150 at Dabulli International Stadium today. Sri Lankan skipper Dinesh Chandimal won the toss and elected to bat first. Sri Lanka A scored 360 for 3 wickets in their first innings at close of play today. Kaushal Silva scored a brilliant 150 not out. Dimuth Karunaratne made 84. Dinesh Chandimal chipped in with 80. Doug Bracewell, Matt Henry and Anton Davies took 1 wicket each. Tomorrow is the second day of the match.
With that, we wrap up today's bulletin of Rupavahini News together with Clifford and Charmindi. I'm Sharon, wishing you a very pleasant night.